And I feel like I've never said that before. Like, actually said uniquely me. You know, I feel like the video just starts and it's just bloop there. Read it. It's not Kimmy. Shout out to Brie because she said kimchi, which is okay. I'm not mad at it. I get it. I was trying to be different. Instead of saying me, it's kind of like knee, but the K is silent. In my head, it sounded great. So, I did my new TBR this year, which it was, I genuinely had so much fun making my entire TBR. Okay, my TBR was great. Like, through and through, it was great. However, I will say, I'm having trouble, like, thinking of more prompts. So, like, behind me is my jar. So, this is like, so in here, it's a combination of stuff, really. But in here is, like, all of the rest of the cards. In here, in this jar, it's like all of the cards, the other cards that I created, right? They have some pictures on them and some are like blank. I ran out of ideas for prompts, so if you have any ideas for extra prompts or like maybe an idea of what book I should choose and I should put it on one of my cards, just put it down there. But yeah, in this jar, just extra cards, and then the ones that I use are like at the top so I don't get them confused. But yeah, so I had, if you watch that video, then you know which books that I chose for the month. If you haven't, then maybe you should go and check that out before looking at this video. But so I'm gonna get right into it. So all in all, I read 4 books. Yeah, because that's my goal, to try to read 4 books a month. But I think I'm going to try and make it 5. I'll tell you why in a little bit. So the very first book I read was Traders, which this book was a very slow read. It really was. However, if it wasn't for me doing like 4 reading sprints in like 3 days, I would have never made it. And then the prompt, I believe, was read a book about royalty or has a sword, knife, or a crown on the cover. It is about royalty. It does have a sword on the cover. It's okay. This is a series, might I add. This is a series, so this is the first book in a series. It was okay. You know, it's kind of predictable. Like, I knew. So first off, I need to start annotating my books. That's first off. So this is the very first book that I read in my TBR. I gave it a 3.5 just because it was so obvious that Ash was also Alex. I apologize if you haven't read this book. I just gave away one of the, it's really predictable. I really hated that. I also am very sick of the same, here's this very privileged rich boy and he just falls in love with this indifferent girl who doesn't want to go with social norms, and she reads. It's so annoying. They did the same thing in Midnight Sun. I literally just got done reading that book like I think a month ago, like so December. I listened to it as an audiobook because I refused to like physically sit there and read it, because that was one of the things I hated the most about Midnight Sun. It was just it's the same thing. Like, this rich boy meets this girl who likes to read. She uses her brain and is different and has pale skin. It's the same narrative over and over again. I am sick of it. But yeah, I gave this book a 3.5. Again, it's a series, so maybe it gets better later on. But yeah. And then the second book that I read was The Girl the Sea Gave Back. I've read this book before. I DNF'd it, I think maybe in like September. I'm really trying. I didn't, it was okay. It wasn't terrible. I'll tell you this much. I definitely prefer this over The Trader's Kiss 100%. Like, just, I gave it a 4.3 maybe, if anything. I wanted to read this more than I wanted to read A Traitor's Kiss. It was just, I don't know. I felt like towards the middle it just fell off. And it was just a bunch of how can I explain, like chatter. None of the middle to me was necessary. I just felt like it was just a long, drawn out thing waiting to happen. But it was okay. Yeah, 4.3. That's about it. Now I'm gonna tell you something that I did. I didn't realize I did it until it was. So I was on par. I was reading all my books on time. I had finished. I knew that I wanted to be done. I knew it. I wanted to plan all these things out. And I had my last book to read. I was so excited. I was super excited, right? So here we are. Dark Dawn by J. Kristoff, right? Okay. Now, again, if you haven't watched my previous video about my TBR, you need to watch it. So the prompt for this book was choose a book that starts with the letter D. And instantly I was like, oh my god, this is great. I've never read this series before, so this is going to be great. So I'm just going to put the book in the... I've never read this series, but this is the first book I picked up. Okay? I don't know how I'm supposed to start a series by picking up the third book. This is the third book in the series, and I didn't realize it. I did not realize it when I chose it. I did not realize it when I edited my video. I did not realize it when I posted my video. I didn't even realize it when I set it down. I was like, yep, I'm gonna read. So I was talking to my cousin. She was asking me what was the latest book I was reading, and I showed her this, right? And she said, yeah, that's book 3. That's how I know that video was just... I had it with that video. My camera had just randomly stopped filming. It was just a whole bunch of going on, so I was like, oh, this is it. So yeah, I had to hurry up his grandma and figure out what book I was going to read next. It's just... oh, this is so much. I was so mad at myself because I couldn't believe I did that, but whatever. So to replace this one, I chose Death in the Family, which I have a little bit, like I have 2 or 3 more chapters to read. This is also a book that I practice reading sprints on. So far it's okay. Right now, even without finishing the last couple of chapters, I'll say it's about maybe a 3 or a 4. I don't know, the way it reads is, the way it flows is kind of odd. Instead of it being, the wording is very odd. That's the only thing I can really say about it right now. I just, it's kind of really hard to follow. I don't really know, and they call it in, like, the words they use to describe the book is not, to me, is not accurate. It was an okay read. I wish I was more surprised or something like that. Like, it kind of got boring. Like, the beginning for sure is very slow, but it kind of makes me think like they tried to, like, something happened, right, and then time moved on. And it came back. First off, the epilogue is so long in the front, it makes no sense. And even reading that, I was almost bored. But I kept reading, you know, deep in the chapters. It just wasn't. I'm not getting it. Maybe I could go back really quickly and like try to read it, and maybe reread it over in the next few days. By the time this video goes up, because it is what, Tuesday, so this video will probably go up maybe the first week of February, which is fine. But yeah, it could be that I didn't want to really read it, to be honest. I wasn't in the mood. I really had my heart set on Dark Dawn, but I don't know, the story is kind of boring to me. It's kind of like they want it to seem more mysterious than it is, and I'm just not getting it. Out of all the books I read, for sure Red Queen was my favorite. This is my absolute favorite book so far. Boom. January top reads, boom. This is the one. This book was great. I did that. I give this book 4.5 stars. The only reason why I'm not giving it 5 is because there are people in this book that should have gotten more than what they get. I also have an issue with books where a lot happens in the first one, meaning like they don't drag the story. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think the way the storyline goes, I think they could have, especially since it's already a series, they could have stretched just a little bit. Meaning, like, for instance, I don't like the fact that this is what I mean by taking notes in my book, because now I can't remember her name at all. What's her name? It's Mayor. I feel like how can I explain it? I feel like they shouldn't have gotten caught in the first book. I'll put it that way to make it simple, just in case anyone wants to pick up the book. I feel like they shouldn't have gotten caught in the first book, right? I feel like they could have stretched that out a little bit longer. Just a little bit, not a whole lot, because, you know, it could drag. But I feel like in the first one, they shouldn't have gotten caught. I'm not disappointed by this book. I can't quite give it 5 stars just because, one, it's in a series, of course. That's just me. And then 2, I just felt like we could have been duped a little bit longer. That's what I'll say. I feel like I could have been duped a little bit longer, or they could have been conspiring a little bit longer. That's what I think they should have did. To me, that's why I can't give it 5 stars, because I felt like if I'm going to betray a king or a queen, I would take way longer than one book to actually find out or actually do it. So yeah. Also, like I said before, I wanted to do a book club, or at least start one. And so I did choose, I wanted to read 4 books a month, including my book club pick. But yeah, that's not quite working out how I wanted to. So I kind of changed dynamics, and I started a Patreon for myself. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a book a month that also is adapted into a movie. So I'm just going to give you the sneak peek for my February pick. So this is my February pick. Of course, love, romance, why not? It's February. I chose this one because it's also a movie on Netflix. I could have chose The Hate That You Give, just because it's February, but I don't have that book. My point is, this is the book I chose for February. That's it. That's all I have to say. It kind of makes me think like they tried to, like something happened, right? And then time moved on. And it came back. First off, the epilogue is so long in the front, it makes no sense. And even reading that, I was almost bored. But I kept reading, you know, deep in the chapters. It just wasn't. I'm not getting it. Maybe I could go back really quickly and like try to read it, and maybe reread it over in the next few days. By the time this video goes up, because it is what, Tuesday, so this video will probably go up maybe the first week of February, which is fine. But yeah, it could be that I didn't want to really read it, to be honest. I wasn't in the mood. I really had my heart set on Dark Dawn, but I don't know, the story is kind of boring to me. It's kind of like they want it to seem more mysterious than it is, and I'm just not getting it. Not. Yeah. Out of all the books I read, for sure Red Queen was my favorite. This is my absolute favorite book so far. Boom. January top reads, boom. This is the one. This book was great. I give this book 4.5 stars. The only reason why I'm not giving it 5 is because there are people in this book that should have gotten more than what they get. I also have an issue with books where a lot happens in the first one, meaning like they don't drag the story out. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think the way the storyline goes, I think they could have, especially since it's already a series, they could have stretched just a little bit. Meaning, like, for instance, I don't like the fact that this is what I mean by taking notes in my book, because now I can't remember her name at all. What is her name? Maven is the brother. Cal is the brother. What the heck is her name? Oh, Mare. Okay, got it. And so this is my... Nope, let's stop there.